Ms. Melissa Varian from the Rochester Housing Authority.
Hi, everybody. Thank you for coming.
A key aspect of my office is that we promote home ownership opportunities. We provide ways to maintain and improve your homes, and we help you pass on your wealth to your future generations. So I want to acknowledge and thank the Rochester Housing Authority. We have been thrilled to partner with them to bring all of these really amazing resources to you today. Please feel free to enjoy the amazing bagels and coffee in the back. And it is my pleasure to introduce Mayor Malik Evans to talk with you today.
Good morning, everybody. I know folks are still coming in and probably still waking up. It's rainy. I know it's one of those nights where people just want to stay in bed. But, you know, this topic that we're going to be talking about today is extremely important. And first off, let me thank Angela Rollins, who runs my Office of Financial Empowerment. I also want to thank all of the panelists that you'll be hearing from. Obviously Melissa Barron from RHA, who we have a great partnership with and does great work. Linda Hedden, who is the manager of housing for the city of Rochester. Latricia Gissendanner from the Housing Council of Pathstone, another organization that I did a lot of work with. Shalani B, who is our sustainability manager in the Office of Energy and Sustainability Division for Environmental Quality in the city. Enza, who's out there from the Assessor's Office. Tina Foster from Just Cause. Bob Rulin. And of course, you guys have Dr. Cheryl McKeever, who you'll be hearing from. And me and Cheryl have been talking about this stuff forever. Cheryl's a little bit older than me, but not that much. But I mean, probably over 20 years, Cheryl, that we've been doing these workshops and these talks together. I see Bob Ruben's in the house. You got Roser. So the point I'm making is that Francis Bacon said that knowledge is power, and information is extremely important, and you have the ability to be able to get that today. But more importantly, for those that may not be here, you're able to spread on something new that you may learn today to those that might not be here. And this is particularly important as we talk about home values and housing in Rochester. First off, just let me tell you all something. If you buy a house and it goes down in value over a 10-year period, you should be asking yourself what's wrong with the city of Rochester. And you should be coming to the mayor's office, okay? And say, Mr. Mayor, why isn't my house going up in value? When you buy a home, that is an asset that you want to see go up in value. I know I want mine to go up in value, because if I want to pass it on to my kids or grandkids, I want to make sure that they have something that is a greater value than I have. And that's sometimes a hard thing to think, because you might think, oh, my taxes are going to go up. No, not necessarily. The other thing about your home is that we want to make sure that you take advantage of all of the deductions that you might be eligible for. If you're a senior, if you're a veteran, or if you're just a regular person, there are deductions. I'm not that old, but I'm old enough. But even I qualify for the STAR tax deduction, which just about everyone in Rochester qualifies for. But if you're a senior, or you're a minister, or disabled, there's all types of deductions and things that you can qualify for, and that's important. And then the other thing I'll say this about home ownership, for me, from my perspective. And if you didn't know, I spent 20 years in banking and finances. This is why I'm so excited about this stuff, and I spent my life talking to people about these things. Is that even if you aren't a homeowner yet, and you may not ever want to own a home, that's fine. But you should have the opportunity to if you so decide. So what things do you need to put together to make sure that when you are ready or interested in getting ready to own a home, that you have the information and knowledge that you need? So I hope that you can take advantage of all these things. I want to, again, point to my Office of Financial Empowerment. You heard from Angela. Take advantage of all the things that are in that office. Not just on the personal side in terms of housing, but also in terms of business. Our Kiva loans, our access to business development. All these things are very important, because the goal of that is to build generational wealth and close the racial wealth gap, particularly in African American and brown communities. The home ownership rate for African Americans in the city of Rochester is only 29%. My goal, not only as mayor, but just as a regular citizen, is to get that number higher. We need to get that number higher. We can't stand for that, and we have the tools and ability to move that number up. So we want to make sure we do that. We at least want to get it up to the 44% that it is for white families, because that's how we're able to lift our city, by making sure that we increase our home ownership rate. I have a housing quality task force that we rolled out. That task force goal is to make sure that we improve housing quality in Rochester. But the other part of that goal, I gave them a new charge for the next 90 days, is to see what programs and things we can put in place in order to try to improve home ownership. Now, it's tough out there, because if you're looking to buy a home, Bob probably can talk about this, the market's tough. Plenty of people have said, man, I'm looking for a house, I can't, there's nothing on the market, I can't find anything. But you still need to be ready. You need to make sure that you are ready, so that way when one does come up, it happens. Because in Rochester, we got so upset that we said, okay, they're not putting houses on the market, we'll build some. So we built 29 houses in the Northeast, and we're building another 30 on the west side near Bull's Head. So there are people here, Linda probably can give information on that, on how you can possibly qualify or take advantage of those 30 new houses that we're building on the west side. And we're building that with partners. Brand new, single family. And if you want to go take a look at what these houses look like that we built, drive down Thomas Street, and you will see these new homes that we built. They are nice. So I said, fine, if they're not going to build them, the city will help build them. So we're excited about that. The last thing I want to say is, I want you to make sure that when you are here today, that you are looking at all of the available tax exemptions that are available. The home repair and first-time home buyer grants. We have home repair and first-time home buyer grants. We want folks to take advantage of those. We want you to share the word to other people that are here. I'm so glad so many people are here this morning to hear this. And then also about how to reduce debts and save for down payment and closing costs. I hope that you get information on that. But you also can get advice on how to ensure that your home is transferred to whomever you choose to inherit. And that's the part that's important. My parents, they both died. I always thought I was the favorite. There's 6 of us in the household. The house wasn't left to me. But that's okay. You know why? Because I worked with my parents, my dad in particular, who lived longer than my mom, and I said, who are we going to leave the house to? I said, I need you to make sure that you write this down, because you can't have Malik Evans and his siblings fighting in the street on who's going to get the house. And you might be young, you might think, oh, I don't want to think about that. You need to think about it. You need to, and you can learn about that today. You got Just Cause here. You got Just Cause here. They can help you think about who the house is going to be left to, or if you have seniors in your family. You need to have those conversations with those folks in your family. I was a banker. I would ask my dad. I'd say, Dad, you need to start thinking about your will and who you're going to leave the house to. What, you trying to kill me? No, we're not trying to kill you. No, we're not trying to kill you. But we need to make, what we're trying to make sure is that we minimize the drama when this happens. And all of us in here that are still alive and standing 6 feet above ground, let's work to minimize that drama by talking to Just Cause. I'm sure Cheryl will touch on this. You gotta have those planning conversations. You gotta have those planning conversations. We want to build generational wealth in Rochester, and all these things are important. Banking, accounting, attorneys, realtors, all these things are people that we want to make sure that you have access to, and you got them all in this room, all in one place. So I want to thank you all for coming today. Like I said, I'm very pleased on this turnout on a Saturday with summer just kicking off and it's raining, and you all are here to get access to information. So thank you all so much for coming. And Angela, thank you for the team and all your work. And I look forward to hearing about the success of today's event. And again, I just want to thank all the partners that are here for giving up your Saturdays. I know you're busy, but for you to come here and do things on behalf of the city, the residents of Rochester, I'm very, very grateful for that, because you could have chosen to do anything else, but to be here on a Saturday to share this knowledge is important. I pray for knowledge, wisdom, and understanding every day. The part in getting that knowledge, wisdom, and understanding is having people that can help give it to you. So take advantage of that knowledge, wisdom, and understanding that you can get here today as it relates to your financial future and as it relates to building a strong financial future and creating generational wealth for the city of Rochester. Thank you. Angela?
Thank you so much, Mayor Evans, for being with us today. We are so excited to share this panel conversation with everyone here. Following the panel, you'll have an opportunity to ask questions. And so you should all have index cards that were on your seat and some pens. And so if you have any questions, feel free to start jotting those down on the index card and we'll collect them towards the end of the panel. So now I want to invite our panelists up to these beautiful chairs. And it is my absolute honor to introduce you to Dr. Cheryl McKeever, who is the founder and CEO of Soft Skills Consulting, who will be moderating today.
Well, it's Saturday morning, and I know who you'd be listening to. Those oldies but goodies at 103.9 WDKS. I am Dr. Cheryl McKeever, and I'm also the financial person that gets out information on Monday mornings at the best power hour out there on radio, and that's at 10 o'clock Monday morning where we talk about finances. So I am honored to be here today, and I'm glad that you are here. First and foremost, this seminar is not and will not focus on assessments. Amen?
Amen.
This is about how you can grow your generational wealth. It's talking about the resources that you have available to you and how can you plan to make that next money move by moving into that home if you don't have one, or moving up to the next big generational gain, which is a larger home that will suffice for your family. Second thing, bathrooms. Ladies' rooms is out to the left. Men's, yours is also to the left, but before you exit the building, make a quick right. So you'll see the men's room. So we'll get that out of the way in case you need to make that happen. So I just want to share with you one of the surveys that I got from Goldman Sachs, and it indicates that Black women face obstacles to leaving a financial legacy. And a couple of those things which challenge us all is the number one thing, debt. And qualifying for a home ownership or trying to get a car, those things can stand in our way. So that's why we're here with panelists that will help us talk about that. Also, housing costs. If we have a home, how do we maintain it? How do we increase its value or appreciate it in value? And then, of course, limited career advancement, and of course, that last one is family. Because you all know there's somebody in our family just waiting, asking. Listen, this is about telling the truth. And so how do you balance that against maintaining and managing your financial wealth and your potential growth? So having said that, sharing the wealth has different meanings to different family members. And in some cases, sharing the wealth could be information, which is why you're here today. So if you have someone that sees you moving up, that sees you purchasing that home, that sees you getting that new car, and they're asking, what can you help me, can you do me, can you lend me? Because that's normally what happens, and let's talk about the truth. And so how do you help them? Help them with the information and the resources and point them in the direction of your esteemed panelists that are here today. So today you will hear and gain perspectives that identify additional strategies. So get your pens and get your notepads. As an educator, write it down. Write down the name of the person. And of course, we'll have them available to you to talk to afterwards, as well as questions that are personalized to you that you can ask. And then also, you'll have homework. That homework means don't just write this information down and walk out. That means you came here for a reason. That means you have something to do. That means you have something that you have chosen to change about your life, about the life of your family, as well as your extended family. So that means write down these items that mean the most to you, and then set the points. The first thing that's most important that you know that you can do, ask for information. Number 2, who do you need to call? Number 3, are there resources on each side of this room that can help you make that plan happen? So don't just walk out of here saying, I heard it, but walk out here saying, I can do it. that I can make it happen. So I encourage your steps to gravitate to the next level. Listen, if you don't work hard for it, nothing's going to happen. So having said that, let's start with our questions of our panel. So what we're going to do here is a round robin. I'm going to talk and introduce the panelists as I ask the question so that you'll know what skill, what their background is, and what organization that they represent as we go along. So I'm going to start with Melissa Barron from the Rochester Housing Authority. And with Melissa, let's see, first one with the microphone. Just a brief synopsis of what you do there at the Rochester Housing Authority. We thank you for being here today. She can provide a unique perspective of the Section 8 home buying program. Did you know that? Section 8 had a home buying program? Mm-hmm. And how they partner with the city's Financial Empowerment Center to prepare families for home ownership and how it changes lives and neighborhoods. So thank you for being here this morning, Melissa, and being the first panelist to respond to my question. So tell me about that home ownership program that Rochester Housing Authority has.
So yes, you can use your Section 8 rental assistance for home ownership. I know we've been trying to get this message out at least since I've been in my role as Director of Resident Services, so that's been about 10 years. So we've done robocalls, we've done flyers to the families, but we're always trying to get the message out. We post it regularly on our Facebook page, but yes, you can use your Section 8 voucher assistance for homeownership assistance. Really, right now, we have less than 1% of our families who are actually using that assistance for homeownership assistance. So we really have a push to get more of our families into homeownership. We know it will be a greater investment in their family. It provides more stability for their families. So we don't take anything back. So it works the same way it does in the rental program. So we pay a portion of their mortgage the same way we pay a portion of their rent to their landlord. And I heard this really neat thing that says you're buying a house for somebody. Either you're buying it for yourself or you're buying it for the landlord. So when you're a renter, you're buying. You're just not buying for yourself. And what?
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
If you don't mind. So if I'm thinking about this program through Rochester Housing Authority,
Yes.
Can I also participate in other homeownership programs? To
Absolutely.
help with the down payment and closing costs?
Yes.
So that helps offset the cost for me as well?
Absolutely, you can, because we are not one of those programs. We help you after you close. We're going to help you pay the mortgage. Those programs help you get to close. So yes, you can get all of those assistance. They do not go against one another.
So they don't limit you to say if you do one, you can't do the other?
No,
So
they do
you can
not.
start with the first-time homebuyers programs, and then especially if I'm a Rochester Housing Authority tenant, and then I can also work with you to get the mortgage and help to offset some of the mortgage costs as well.
That's exactly correct.
Okay, so when are you going to advertise this?
We advertise it all the time.
Okay.
Yes,
So
we've had 6 homeowners who closed this year so far, 20 last year.
Oh, well, amen. We got 20 homeowners there. Thank you for that. So I have Latricia Gissendaner. Oh, you finally showed up. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm gonna right out that everybody knows it. Okay. So you're the Director of Home Ownership for the Housing Council in Patstone.
Yes.
So in your position there, you provide free and post-home ownership financial counseling tips to assist homeowners and prospective home buyers to save for a down payment and reduce debt to attain, maintain, and sustain their property. Girl, that worked out my lips this morning, first thing. So having said that about what you do and the organization that you represent, what are some of the first steps that I should take when I'm preparing to purchase my home? Now, this is what you may want to write down. I need to understand, what do I do first to get ready to make that decision? So what would you suggest, your top 5?
top 5. So, one, I want to say at the Housing Council, our goal is to create safe, affordable, sustainable, stable housing. And I'll talk, that top 5 is going to be aligned directly with that question. And to Melissa's point, our office worked with Tim Wildman back there, and we were actually able to just close a client who has Section 8 for our Make Monroe Home program, which is a rehab program. She literally just closed on June 20th on Section 8, and that's paying the majority of her mortgage. So definitely a great program at the Housing Council. We definitely help with that, and we partner with a lot of the banks to make sure that they understand the process. So, yay, so excited for her.
And it's nice
Let's
to
close.
hear
And
about
she
that
wouldn't have
success.
closed without that Section 8 support. She wouldn't have had a home. And she's leaving that to her baby. So again, investment. So what we do, the first step, financial wellness check. Does everyone manage their bank account so that you know exactly what you spend on? Yes? I see some heads shaking.
All right, listen, you only have so much time.
Oh, okay.
As a panel, so you're gonna have to move
Okay.
through this.
So you have to make sure that you are managing how you're spending. A lot of things that we're seeing at the Housing Council is a lot of Klarnas, Amazon, $300 to $600 alone just in like Grubhub, Uber Eats, and that sort of thing. So I'm not telling you, and we're not here to condemn you and that sort of thing, but we just want you to navigate that, right? Maybe eat out once a week and not 5 times a week. That's huge, because that's a savings that can actually be put into your savings account. So manage that. Second thing, savings. How are you saving? What do you have for saving? Okay, gotta make sure that you are having a savings account. You can work with a couple of banks that do rollover savings. So as you go to Wegmans and they say, hey, swipe your card and you can round up and donate to this. There are several banks, and you can contact us and we can give you some names that'll actually allow you to swipe your card and a portion of your funds go into a savings account so that you can save without thinking, or set up auto pay to save at least $20, $25 a month or what have you in your savings account. You know that you need about maybe $10,000 for down payment and closing costs. Take that $10,000, break it down into how much you need per pay period, and start there. And we can again help you with
Can I use my income
that.
tax refund?
Say it again.
Can I use my income tax refund?
Absolutely.
For a down payment?
Yes, you can use that.
That's an
And
idea.
go to an account or a bank that actually, I know M&T is one of the banks, that they'll let you put that money in there, and you actually have to go see a personal banker as to why you're taking it out. So sometimes we need that accountability partner, right? Because you put it in there and you see it dwindling down. So go to a bank that's going to actually hold it into an account where it's accruing interest. All right. So again, first thing again is manage your bank account. Set those notifications up. The second thing is savings. Third thing, and this goes along with your savings, your credit. What's your credit? Don't wait until you get ready to purchase. You should be checking your credit at least 4 times a year. Annualcreditreport.com, totally free once a year. But Equifax, Experian, TransUnion, you can check it once a week. And you don't have to check it that often, but know what's on your credit. 1, because there's a lot of fraud. And then 2, you want to know exactly where you are so that we're not starting from scratch when it's time for you to make a purchase on something. You generally want your credit right around that sweet spot of 620 so that you can have a good interest rate when it's time to close. Because
So
that
the question is, will my credit report, if I look at it, will it lower my credit score? And number 2, can I find my credit score on my credit report?
you can find your credit score on your credit report. Now, when with agencies such as the Housing Council, Consumer Credit Counseling Services of Rochester, we will actually give you your actual score. Annual credit report does not, unless you pay like an introductory fee of $9.99, and I think ongoing it's $29.99. They will then give you your credit score, but if you're going to annualcreditreport.com, it's just going to give you a full breakdown of actually what's on your credit. Okay. One other thing, if you go with your bank, a lot of banks are now giving you your credit score. Just remember, it's only coming from one credit bureau. So a lot of times it's just Experian. That's just one. With lenders, as well as with the Housing Council, if you're going for one of our grants, we look at your middle score, meaning we need all 3 scores, Experian, TransUnion, and Equifax. We're just going to take that middle score. Okay.
That's
So
average.
The average, correct. So you wanna know what that is, okay? And your banks will give you your score, know what that score is. 4, check monroecounty.gov, that's a public website. A lot of times your public records do not go on your credit report unless it's like a bankruptcy or a foreclosure. Sometimes monroecounty.gov, the public site, has anything for state taxes, or if you had a dispute with the landlord or something. That's actually something that's on that public site that a lot of people weren't even aware of. And so now we're coming back and trying to help you pay that off or make some form of a payment arrangement when you had no clue it was on there. So we're finding sometimes like $3,000 and $5,000, which again is an obstacle to home ownership. That's classified as a judgment. And a lot of lenders will not approve you with a judgment on your record. Okay? And then 4, it goes back to saving. Partnership. Who are your partners in the community? You have to have a strong realtor. This is a seller's market. Seller's market meaning there are more buyers than there are homes. Granted, I know your sister, your brother, your family member just got their real estate license. Okay, we need a shark right now. So you need a strong realtor that understands the market, that has worked with first-time home buyers, that's going to help guide you, as well as your lender. Don't be intimidated to ask those questions. This is all about you and your family. So have some questions that you will ask of that lender. What programs do you have available? How much do I need for down payment and closing costs? I talk about I had someone and worked with a client that they were ready to close.
What did I say? What did
Oh,
I say?
I'm sorry. But they didn't know their down payment and closing costs, and that's crucial. That can be like $12,000 to $15,000. You gotta prepare for that. Okay, that's my 5 minutes.
Take a breath.
Yes. I was trying to.
I know you were trying to get it. I know, I understand. Because
Excited
you're
about
so
it.
excited. So,
Can I add one other thing though? One other thing. Partnership. Work with your partners, and you all are empowered. You are controlling this for your children's legacy, for your legacy. So feel empowered. That was my last one.
yeah. Okay. All right. So thank you for that,
You're
and I
welcome.
appreciate your sharing it in jest. So thank you. Now, Linda, who is the City of Rochester's Assistant Housing Manager. Linda works directly with the City of Rochester's Housing Manager and their initiatives, programs, and support services for low-income residents. The city's housing division works to, where my page go? Oh, promote sustainable and affordable home ownership in Rochester, and works with developers, rental property owners and managers, as well as community-based organizations to create and sustain affordable, supportive, and senior housing developments. So thank you, Linda, so much for being here this morning. And my question to you, if you don't mind my asking, is what resources do you have available to you for first-time homeowners?
Hi folks, how are y'all doing?
Good.
How many people already own a home? All right. Have you owned your home for more than 5 years? Okay. How many people are looking to buy a home? All right. So we've heard a bit about how to go about purchasing a home.
So my question to you was, what resources are available through the City of Rochester for first-time home buyers?
Thank you. We have a homebuyer services team that can assist you to purchase a home in the City of Rochester through a couple of different programs. We've got a home purchase assistance program to provide down payment and closing assistance for a home anywhere in the City of Rochester. And we are able to assist households up to 120% of area median income. And that is a way for folks to have funds toward purchasing a home that you might not have enough on your own. But as you heard before from our colleague from the Housing Council, it's going to take sacrifice, it's going to take planning, and it's going to take intention to get there. As you're ready, contact us and find out what you can qualify for. If that doesn't work for you, we also have assistance for folks who are purchasing through the Home Rochester program, which is a program that takes vacant homes, fixes them up, and offers them to first-time home buyers. And those houses have been recently rehabilitated and improved. Additionally, we also have, and we were hearing about it a little bit earlier, we have By the Block, which is a new program that we started just 2 years ago. New construction for homeownership, households who can purchase a brand new home, which is kind of unheard of in the city of Rochester, right? Because we're a built environment. Phase 2, By the Block 2, is going to happen over in the Southwest. And we are about to start with our partners, Habitat for Humanity, Greater Rochester Habitat for Humanity, and the Greater Rochester Partnership, who was our partner for the first phase of By the Block, to build homes over in the Southwest, not that far from Bull's Head. And those homes are going to start being constructed in the coming months, and in the fall, there will be an announcement for folks who are interested in finding out whether or not they can qualify for purchase, and also to look at the houses that are being built and identify what they think might be right for them. And then we will have applications specific to that program, and if you qualify, you'll be put into a lottery system for selection of purchasing those homes.
Thank you so much, Linda. I appreciate that. We've talked a great deal about acquiring new homes, but what about my existing home? How can I improve its value? How can I become more energy efficient? So I'm going to look toward Shalini Beek, who is the Energy and Sustainability Manager's Office of Energy for the City of Rochester. She's going to provide us with ways in which homeowners can make their homes more energy efficient, whether it's using energy-saving light bulbs or an electric stove or solar panels. So, Shalini, welcome to the panel. Am I saying your name the right way?
It's Shalini.
Shalini.
Yes.
Thank you for that. I had to ask to make sure, and I appreciate your sharing that. So, Shalini, what resources are available if I am an existing homeowner?
Thank you for that question. So, good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for the opportunity to share this information. The program that we have is called Energy Smart Rochester, and that is really an awareness building program for residents to think about sustainability in a different way. So when we talk about sustainable installations, it's not only good for the environment, right? We hear about that all the time, improving my insulation, getting a heat pump, getting solar panels, driving electric vehicles. But what does it mean for you and your home? All of these installations can help your home be more energy efficient. All that means is you use less energy. If you use less energy, that means your bill is gonna go down. So that is really gonna save you money. So Energy Smart Rochester provides a lot of tips and many, many resources for you to take very simple steps. When I say simple steps, I simply mean switching out your light bulbs to LED light bulbs. You can go to the store and buy a pack of light bulbs and do that yourself. And you're gonna save money on your electric bill because LED light bulbs just use very, very little
So
electricity.
what about my windows? Every
Yes.
once in a while in the wintertime, when there's a good wind that blows, so does my curtain blow. And I can see my money just blowing with it.
Yeah.
What can I do?
So you can improve the insulation of your windows. Buying new windows are expensive, so you don't have to do that right away. You can actually fill the gaps, the little drafts in your windows by just, there's kind of like a rubbery coil that you can just caulk it in. So I would say the one thing I would love for everyone to do is to sign up for a no-cost energy assessment. There's a flyer up front. I'm at the City of Rochester table. There's Energy Smart flyers, and I will be there. Please grab a flyer and sign up for this assessment. We will send a contractor over to your home, and they will do a energy audit. So all that means is they'll walk through your home with you. They'll go down into your basement. In your basement, there's a lot of areas where you could be losing heat. All the heat that you're paying for to heat your home is seeping out of those cracks. And so what they will do is looking in your basement rim joists, the perimeter around your basement, and they will look to insulate it. They will blow in insulation. Same with your roof.
Is that free?
The energy audit is completely free, but the insulation does cost money, but the person who comes in to do your audit will have an in-depth conversation with you about what the cost is, and there are many, many, many state and federal tax credits and so many incentives that you can qualify for, you could get the installation for a very, very low cost. There's no one size fits all, so I can't tell you that number, but come talk to me, sign up for the audit, and you will be amazed at how much money you can save just doing the
Now,
installation.
these are certified contractors?
Absolutely,
Allison?
yes.
Okay.
Yes. They have to be certified by the state in order to qualify to get the rebates as well, so yes. So that's just one, I can keep going. So as part of this audit is you do the installation, that's really important as your basement and your attic. The second thing they're gonna talk to you is about, most of us here in Rochester have a natural gas furnace, right, to heat our home. But as our summers are getting warmer, I would say we all kind of think about air conditioning too. It would be nice. I don't have an air conditioner in my home. I have a really old home. A lot of the old homes are not built in with central air. So what you can do is ask them about a heat pump. A heat pump it runs on electricity. It's kind of like a refrigerator. If you have a refrigerator in your home, you currently have a heat pump in your home. So the way that heat pump works is it's going to replace your natural gas furnace, which runs on fossil fuel. Instead of that, it's just going to plug in. And the heat pump will heat your home. It's air, it's going to heat the air in your home. It's also going to provide air conditioning, which is pretty cool. And it's also going to heat your water. So it's going to serve as a water heater as well. They will talk to you about how it works, how much it's going to cost, all the federal and New York State tax credits. You can combine them right now. Come talk to me. I'm outside, and I will go through the details. So you'll learn about a heat pump. You may not be ready to switch out your heat pump right now. That's okay. When your furnace dies, you will then have the information about what a heat pump is, what model works for your home, so then you can easily replace it and then apply for those tax credits. And there's more about solar. There's more about replacing your appliances too. Replace them with high efficiency electric appliances. They will save you money over time.
Except when the power goes out, that electricity. So,
Yeah.
thank you so much.
Improving
so
the
much.
grid is also part of the solution.
Okay, I agree. So thank you so much for that. And again, we're all going to be here afterwards to ask questions of. So I just want to give enough information so that we all, as the panelists, have an opportunity to share one of our strengths. So next up is Tina Foster, who is the Executive Director of Just Cause. Tina will discuss the importance of estate planning, ensuring that homeowners have a plan for the property's future and that their assets are transferred to the people that they choose. Resources on how to create a will or a living will and a trust, and the negative impacts about not having these measures in place. So welcome, Tina. We're glad to have you today.
Hi, thanks for having me. I'm really excited to be here to talk to you all, and I want to thank Mayor Evans for highlighting the importance of having a will and having documents in place. In New York State, the only way that you can legally transfer property of a house or real estate property after you pass is either if you jointly own that property with somebody else,
And that's listed as joint tenants with rights of survivorship.
Right. So there's many people in Rochester may have a situation that arises a lot of times is that you may be living in a home, somebody owned the home, that person passes away, and it didn't necessarily, but that person didn't make plans for how that deed transfer was going to happen or how that property was going to be transferred, and it creates a mess, and it can take many years to get out of that mess. So for example, if you have been living in the home that your grandmother, you and your family have been living in that home for 20 years, somebody passes, you continue to pay the mortgage, you continue to keep it up to date, you invest a lot in that home, but you may not actually be the person that is legally entitled to all of the tax breaks, the benefits, and all of the other things that go along with that home ownership. The other thing that happens is there could be a challenge to your actual ownership of the home because New York State doesn't necessarily have the same way of dividing your assets amongst your heirs, your legal heirs, the same way that you are thinking you might want to leave your assets. So one of the things to keep in mind, we've heard a little bit about the statistics between black and brown home ownership and people who have not been historically disadvantaged or disenfranchised from buying homes. Not only do they own less, but their intergenerational wealth that is passed on is less. More black and brown homeowners lose their homes after saving because they did not have a will or an estate plan in place to leave it to their family members.
So how difficult is it to have that discussion about a will? And how difficult is it to put one into place?
So it may be a little bit difficult in the sense of getting through an emotional barrier that you might have about thinking of what's going to happen when you die. But just so you know, the will can be a pretty basic document. You don't have to describe every single piece of property. In fact, that's not recommended. But if you have a home, that's very important to leave instructions about that. And the good news is the City of Rochester understands how important that is and has partnered with Just Cause to provide that service. If you're income eligible for any of these services, you're also income eligible to have a will done for you for free. And so I would encourage,
Could you repeat that
for free. So what I would like everybody here to do, if you own a home, please see my colleague Melissa Mackey. Could you stand up in the back? This is my wonderful Trusted Estates paralegal, Melissa. She can help you see if you qualify, take your information, and we can set up an appointment for you to come and meet with an attorney. These are attorneys, we partner with attorneys from the community. They may be private attorneys who are providing the same legal advice to people who are paying multi-millions of dollar estates to have them do their estate planning, but they volunteer to do it with Just Cause for people who cannot necessarily afford that level of service, but they want to give back to the community and ensure that everyone is represented and gets the information that they need. So you could have a very, very great lawyer giving you lots of free legal advice, and they will help you not only with your estate planning for your home, but they can also help you with the power of attorney if you get ill and you cannot make decisions for yourself and you have minor children. This is an important thing to consider. Also, both husband and wife need a will, so don't assume if one of you has, the other one doesn't need. Please just try to think about, just get over the mental block of I don't want to think about when I need this, and just take that one step to have that insurance policy so at least your life's wealth and all that you've worked for, you can pass it on the way that you intended and not leave something up for grabs when you're gone. So.
And we've seen the loss of those homes because the family has been so busy discussing the possibility of who's going to get it, that the taxes aren't paid, it's not being upkept, and all the rest. So thank you for sharing this, and also that it could be something that's free. So thank you. We appreciate that. Our next person is Enzo Minio from the City of Rochester's Assessor's Office, and she's here to inform us as homeowners about the exemptions that are available, such as school tax relief, STAR, or the Enhanced STAR program, and how and when we should apply for them, and what are some of the benefits of having this program. So Enza, can you tell me a little bit about that STAR program?
Sure. Glad to be here today with all of you. We do have many exemptions, and these are all New York State exemptions. The basic one is the STAR. Everybody that owns a home, 99% of people that own a home are eligible for the STAR, and that's basically the school tax assessment relief is what that is, and it comes off, and it's a savings directly off of your school tax bill. In the city, if you live in the city here, it is off of the city schools and the city tax bill. Same thing for the Enhanced STAR. The Enhanced STAR is a little bit more savings than the basic STAR, but it's actually for seniors that are 65 and older with a certain income. In addition to the STAR and the Enhanced STAR, there's what we call the aged exemption, and that is actually for our seniors that are above 65 that are challenged with their income. And we've raised those income limits, so many more people now qualify, many more of our seniors qualify for that. We picked up, I think, maybe 750, or I think maybe, there's a number out there, I'm sure of it, 750, I think, new, limited income, and we do have many already on our file. There's also veterans exemptions. If you're a veteran, if you've served in Vietnam, in the current war, Persian War, Cold War, we have exemptions for the veterans. There's a veterans disability. There's a disability exemption if you are low income and you have disabilities, you've been awarded disabilities. There is a plethora of exemptions. We do have them on our website at the cityofrochester.gov, and we also have them on the New York State website. I also brought a handout with a bunch of some of the more common and typical ones that everyone would qualify for. And any questions that you have at all on exemptions, we have at the city, at the Assessment Bureau, we have a hotline, the exemption hotline that's always available. Someone's always there to answer a question about exemptions, and they can be tricky because certain exemptions apply to just a city and school, and some exemptions apply to city, school, and county, which would be the senior aged exemption I told you about. Veterans exemptions apply to the county. So there's so many different things, but we can certainly walk you through it and simplify that as much as we can.
Thank you so much, as I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
And Bob, you're bringing up the rear. The only gentleman that's on the panel, that says, okay, you got the voice of the man.
If you don't mind, I'll stand up so people can see.
What?
That's okay.
No,
I'm sorry.
We are not doing that. They can hear you, Bob. Have a
Okay.
seat.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
So as we think about Bob, who is an associate broker from Keller and Williams Realtor, Bob will share some ways as a homeowner that you can bring value to the home and how they can sustain the wealth in their home, house hunting do's and don'ts, and what are the costs for waiving an inspection, which we know was a hot mess a couple of years ago when we were having the difficulty with the amount of homes that were available for sale and people were bidding and doing all this real crazy stuff,
Right.
and they waived those inspections.
Right.
Never a good thing. So my question to you, Bob, is tell me, what are some of the house hunting do's and don'ts?
Well, some of the do's and don'ts are, I go back to, I pulled this morning, there's only 143 houses active for sale, single-family homes, in Rochester as of this morning. And that is an extremely low number. But when you look at it over year, we sell in Rochester about 1,800 homes going back about 15 years. Every year it's 1,800 homes. So the homes are out there. If you bought a home 10 years ago, you paid $70,000 on average. Now it's 140. So when you build that team, you need to build a team of your own board of directors to be able to help you through the process of doing everything you're doing. Some of the do's is to identify who those people are that can help you get to what your goal is. Using a dedicated realtor. Don't try and find it by yourself. There's just too many different places to look. We put everything, as realtors, we put all of the homes that are for sale into the multiple listing system. That doesn't mean you can't walk your street or your neighborhood, knock on the door and say, are you thinking of selling your home and trying to buy something off market? You can certainly do that as well. But get pre-approved for your loan. There's a lot of banks that will look at your credit and give you the top 10 things that you need to do in order to improve your credit. And that is invaluable if you can stick to the discipline to help reduce or improve that credit score. Listen to those loan processors, listen to the people on the board up here, and just continue to save as much money as you can. Those are the big things. The don'ts would, when you walk into a home with a realtor that you really, really like, don't show it. Because the realtor that's there is going to see that anticipation, that excitement, and they're going to use that against you in the negotiating process. So just be careful of that. Talk to your realtor outside once you're out of the house. Don't call different listing realtors, because our first question has to be, have you signed paperwork with another realtor to work with them? Because that's a competition thing and we can't cross that line. So we need to know if you are signed up with someone. Tell us who it is. We'll be more than happy to call them and let them know that you're reaching out to us about one of our properties. And I would say, buy now. Buy now. If you can buy now. We are one of the highest and best known communities in Western New York. Not just Western New York, in the world. When you look at the data of Rochester, right after 2005, the city announced they were doing the college. They were doing the college town. And all of a sudden we started to become visible to investors. After that, COVID hit. And right after COVID, everybody saw that they could work from anywhere and they wanted to come to Rochester. And that's what's driving our prices. We have so much to offer in this city. And there's even more, just some of the things I'm hearing that are coming. It's a great place to live.
So Bob, can I ask you a question?
Sure.
So what if I'm on the side of, I'm thinking about selling? What do I have to do to get my house ready?
Oh, sure. So there's a bunch of, the first and most important thing is when you walk up to a house, think about how you look at a house. And you want to make sure that everything outside the house looks really, really good. Your front curb appeal walk up, you want to make sure you're doing all of that. If there's things that need to be painted, paint is cheap and it will fix about 70% of any of the visual imperfections that people are looking at. We're not hiding it, we're just fixing it.
That was my next word.
Yeah, we're not hiding it.
Oh, okay.
But it's sometimes a fresh coat of paint, helps to change the smell of a home, helps to change the look of a home. There's too many things going on there, so.
Okay. Any other thoughts about preparing your home for a sale?
Just thin out. Just, we collect so much stuff in our lives, just either put it into 3 categories. You're gonna take it with you, you're gonna put it in the trash, or you're gonna donate it. Because the thinner the house looks, the more appealing it is to the buyer.
Thank you, I appreciate that. So we can go back to, how am I on time? Where's my timekeeper? I just want to make sure.
20 minutes.
Okay, so I'm going to start back, rotate through my questions, the panel the same way that we did. So thank you for your patience as we go through this. We appreciate it. So Melissa, I'm coming back to you from the Rochester Housing Authority. When I think about sustaining the wealth in my home, what recommendations do you have?
So I would say the same thing as when you're buying it, minimize any debt. So don't take out a bunch of loans against your home. Your home is an investment. Yes, of course you want to, you might want to take out a loan to rehab your house, and that's always a good thing if you're refinancing or doing something like that, but you want to minimize any debt. You want to hold on to your equity. So equity is the most important thing. That's how you have the investment.
So can I interrupt for a second?
Sure.
Explain to me exactly what is equity. I hear all these people talking about it, and I'm not quite sure does it mean, and do I have it in my home, or should I have it in my home?
So equity is just simply value, right? So say your home is worth $150,000 and you owe the bank $50,000. Your equity is $100,000. So that's what you hold in value. So if you went and sold your house on the market for the market value, $150,000, you would walk away with $100,000. So that's always what you're working with, right? And so anytime you want to borrow against it, that's the same thing that the bank is looking at. What do you have in equity? That's what they're going to loan against it. And then you can use your equity in your house for a lot of things. If you need to put your kids through college, if you need to put yourself through college, If you want to start a business, you can use your equity in your home for a lot of things, but I say only use your equity if absolutely necessary, because your equity is your investment. That's what you're trying to pass on to your children. So you don't want to have a lot of debt attached to your home, and then, God forbid, something happened to you, because then you pass that debt to your children. You know, you're not passing on the value. You're not helping them grow their generational wealth, because then that asset that you're trying to give to them is not going to attain the value that you want to have. So you want to just keep in mind that you want to hold on to your equity, right? And even that question about if you want to resell, when you're thinking about reselling, you have to be thinking about what are you buying, right? Because somebody might be saying, oh, I'll offer you so much more money than what your house is worth. But are you going to be able to go out and buy another house? Is that going to cost you more money? So you have to think about all of those things, right? You want to hold on to the value of your house. If you have a lot of equity in your house, you want to hold on to your equity. That's your investment. That's how you hold on to your generational wealth. That's how you pass it to your kids. And you should be having that conversation with your children. Because if none of your children want to live in Rochester, right? If they don't want that equity, you need to then think about selling it. So then you can give them the actual cash. Because that's a real conversation to have when you're thinking about doing the will and things. You think about that investment. Your home is an investment. That's how you build generational wealth.
Thank you for that. And I appreciate the information about, how do I calculate that? And is it real money to me? Because it is real money. And sometimes we don't value it in that way. So, okay. Tricia, as we take a look at, I was going somewhere and tagline and I lost my train of thought, so I'm sorry. Can you share with us what resources exist if I'm struggling to maintain my home? Because I know just by speaking about this value being growth and the equity, and right now it's being challenged. What can I do and where can I go when it comes to maintaining my home? What are some of the resources that may be available to me?
So a couple of things. At the Housing Council, we do have a rehome program. You heard a lot about just looking at different ways to maintain like the windows and all of those things. So we want to definitely keep it in good shape. But with our rehome program, you can actually get on the list. It's closed down, but it hopefully should be opening soon, in which we can help you build up things. If your roof is damaged or you need some work done in the property in which you really can't afford to do. If you're struggling with the payments, we actually have a foreclosure team that can actually help you maybe get a lower payment or work with a different bank and that sort of thing. And we will work with you until that situation is resolved and speak on your behalf. You also heard about some of the community programs that will also help you maybe refinance, and that's why it's good to stay connected to your lender. And again, we can help you with those particular resources, getting in touch with the lender that will help you potentially refinance if it's something to do with having issues with making payments.
Thank you for that, because that is helpful, because we've all been in that position. Someone's gotten sick or lost a job or has been, resized in the workplace, and so those things will really be helpful, so I appreciate that. Now, Linda, on that same thought process, looking at the City of Rochester's housing, their Rochester Acquisition Rehab Program and Stability Fund. So talk to me about how can I continue to hold the value in my home?
The acquisition rehab program I mentioned earlier, Home Rochester, that is the process that we use to take vacant homes. We work with the Rochester Housing Development Fund Corporation to acquire vacant properties, fix them up to high standards, and then sell them to first-time homeowners. And with that, we're able to take properties that are vacant and maybe in a condition that someone wouldn't be able to purchase and live in on their own and transition them into home ownership. In addition, we do have some rehab programs, but I'll be honest with you folks, public money is not gonna fix every private homeowner's challenges with maintaining their privately owned property. So it's important for you, as you purchase your home and you're living in your home, to keep stock of its condition on a regular basis. Check the insides, check the outsides. Shal had a great recommendation in terms of energy, but that's important regardless of what it is, because the environment does things to buildings over time. So look at your outside, look at your inside, check along, the roof lines, pay attention to your gutters, clean those out on a regular basis. Look for water penetrating into your house. If there's water seeping in, there are simple things that can be done to, build up the dirt, the ground on the outside to help water flow away from the home as opposed to down along the walls. Those are straightforward, simple things because you're responsible for the care and feeding of your home. You're living in it, but that's your responsibility. So saving for big costs on a regular basis, building that into your budget so that when something happens, you're not in a panic and looking to do the quickest thing you can to deal with your issue and maybe choosing a costly approach because that will lose you money over time. We do have rehab programs. Right now, the one that we do have currently available is our LED program. How many folks have children under 6 in their household and own a home? Okay, so you could check with the City of Rochester's LED program. You would contact your neighborhood service center, there's one in each quadrant, and check and see if you qualify for that program, but that will consist of getting a LED assessment done of your home, and those items that include LED that could be problematic would be addressed. It might be windows, we heard windows as an issue earlier, older homes, you might get LED assistance that would also help with energy efficiency, porches, those types of things. Where there's LED, this program can help. If you don't have a child that's less than 6, but you are someone who has visiting children under 6 coming to your home on a regular basis, you may also be eligible. That's for homeowners. And the program is also available for landlords for 1 to 4 family buildings.
Thank you so much, I appreciate that.
Let me just say one more thing. We do plan to have additional rehab programs available in the coming months and future. So check in on our website, check in with the Neighborhood Service Center. That's the place in each quadrant where there are folks who are available to help you understand what you might be eligible for and what's currently available, and they can assist with the application process.
Thank you. Shal, I know that you were talking a little bit about energy sustainability and how we could really begin to save and become more energy efficient. Were there any other tips or tools that you would like to add as we begin to wrap up this segment?
Thank you. So definitely stop by the table because there's too much to talk about. But something that I want everyone to think about is what are the questions that you have in mind, right? So when you're talking to, let's say, an energy, a person who comes to do the energy assessment, ask the questions. Ask them what is the payback period. So if you invest X amount of dollars in purchasing a heat pump, how long will it take for you to make that money back? And how much will you save on your energy bills? So don't be afraid to ask them all the questions because they're supposed to help you make the decision or at least be prepared to make the purchase down the line. Same goes for when you get your free, you can also get an assessment for solar. Not every home is ideal for solar panels because you may have too many trees, your roof may need to be repaired before you put panels on it. But if you qualify for solar and you can get the federal and state tax credits, that's a great opportunity to consider because you basically will be making your own electricity. When the sun shines, you're going to make your own electricity and you're going to use it. And that's a pretty cool opportunity. So don't be afraid to ask the questions. Same with an electric vehicle. Maybe you're not ready for it now, but when your car dies and you're looking to replace it, test drive an EV. You have nothing to lose. It's pretty cool. We're also putting in a lot of charging stations all across the city in various public locations. So even if you rent an EV at any point, you can try it out, plug it in, and see how it works for you. So cityofrochester.gov/Energy Smart is kind of the place to go, and everything that I've talked about is on there. And don't forget to get a free home energy assessment. It's one thing that you do.
And I'm going to wrap up with Tina, if I may, only because we're running out of time here. Talk to me a little bit about he and she, husband and wife. How do I protect myself?
Well, I think that I think you're referring to when I said both need a will at the beginning.
Well, I'm just saying, maybe one of us has to go. How do I protect myself? Is my husband here, by the way?
Okay, so we'll keep this in a closed circle, but both husband and wife need a will because there's a lot of reasons for it, but essentially.
I'm talking about, I'm still living, but how do I protect myself in case we need to
separate?
Yes.
Yes, okay, so disposition of property is typically in a divorce proceeding, but if you are not actually married and you're living in a property, that situation comes up quite a bit. It's very important for you to understand who actually owns the home that you live in and what the legal situation is there, because you can't make an assumption, as I said before, because the person that's paying all the mortgage payments when the bills come does not necessarily own the home, and it does not necessarily give you the right to get that money back either. So you need to consider who actually owns the home. There are ways, and we can help you as well with deed transfers. It doesn't have to be through will, obviously. You can separate property while you're living and while your other person is living is when you get to make the decision. If you don't make the decision when you're living, someone's going to make that decision later, and it's probably not going to be the decision that you would have made. So again, the one other thing I want to just say is don't try to do it yourself. You asked me, is it difficult? It's very difficult to write a legally binding will, even for an attorney. I wouldn't try to do my own will. I would hire somebody to do that. I wouldn't go on, there's a lot of services that would take your money and say, we'll give you a will, it'll spit something out for you, but that's not gonna stand up in court. So I would highly recommend that you have it done by a professional, and there's really no reason not to. Normally it's a kind of thing that will cost about $500 or $1,000 to get done in a private setting, so taking advantage of the city's program makes a lot of sense.
Thank you so much.